What is going on, guys? My name is Bill Matthews from the BassinBill96 YouTube channel, and today Mr. Tackle Box is letting me take over their channel to show you guys my 4 favorite drop shot baits to use when your typical finesse worm is not working. So a little bit unorthodox, got a couple bait fish imitators and just some other random stuff that you guys maybe have never thought about trying before. So we're about to launch the boat, get out of the water, but I just want to show you guys how beautiful it is out here. We pulled up to a different lake this morning and it was completely packed, like 20 boats in the parking lot. So we came here, not a single boat out here, and check this lake out right now. You literally cannot beat that. So we're gonna get the boat in the water here, and like I said, we're gonna be showing you 4 baits that you probably have never tried on the drop shot before, and hopefully we're gonna catch some good sized fish. So stick around, stay tuned, gonna learn some stuff, and hopefully catch some fish along the way. So first spot in the morning, and like I said, we got some unorthodox baits that you just really don't see in a drop shot too often. We're going to start out with this little Cabin Creek Bait Company, little finesse worm. So this is probably the most typical bait that you would throw in a drop shot, but we're going to rig this a little bit differently than you normally would. So as you can see right here, when you think of a drop shot, you probably think of a little finesse worm, kind of nose hooked, just like we got on here. I was actually throwing this in a tournament just the other day. So when that's not working, this is what I like to do. The 4 couple baits that I like to switch it up, throw things that maybe the fish are not seeing quite as often. So we're gonna start with this little Cabin Creek bait, and all we're gonna do is we're gonna wacky rig that on the drop shot hook. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna make this bait fall at about half the speed. So one thing is you're gonna get a lot more bites on the drop. If those fish are suspended, they see this thing kind of dropping down past their face, you're gonna get a lot more bites that way, but on top of that too, it's just gonna be a little bit different action on the bottom as well. So we're gonna start casting this thing around, little drop shot, wacky worm, little Cabin Creek baits. And like I said, we got 4 baits, so this is number 1 of the kind of different baits I like to throw on drop shots when the fish are just not quite cooperating. Drop the trolling motor in, see how long it takes us to get the first fish of the day. Well, so far we have caught like 3 or 4 dinks, but have not caught a single decent fish, which I want to get at least 1 solid one for you guys on camera. But I want to show you guys how I'm working this bait, because it's a little bit different than if you're fishing a regular finesse worm. All we're doing is casting it off the break in about 12 to 15 foot of water, letting it drop all the way down to the bottom. And even though you fish a drop shot pretty slow normally, with this thing, all I'm doing is reeling up to it and just barely shaking that worm. So I want that thing to basically sit in place, but just shake just ever so slightly. So we're really not bringing that worm, it's not moving along the bottom very much at all. Just basically sitting one tiny little spot and just giving it a little shake here and there. And definitely gives them a little bit different look than a normal drop shot. So we're gonna keep chugging along, try to catch 1 solid fish for you guys, and we're gonna move on to some of those other baits that I like to throw when the fish are just being a little finicky on that drop shot bite. Well, we were only catching dinks at that other lake, so we just called the audible and switched it up here. So still gonna be throwing that little wacky worm, Cabin Creek finesse worm right here. Try to get the first decent one of the day. I caught like 4 little baby bass at that last lake, but just was not cutting it. So gonna fish this point right here, try to get the first solid one of the day for you guys, then show you guys those other 4 baits that we're hopefully gonna catch some better sized fish on, because it's not really too fun catching 5-inch bass. That one ate it on the drop, just like I was saying earlier. Okay, well, first like halfway decent one of the day. Definitely not a big fish. But with that wacky worm, since it drops so slow, especially if you guys have been seeing a lot of bait fish kind of bust near the surface, these fish are probably suspended, or at least a good amount of them. I just lifted up and realized my line was like 10 feet closer to me than it should have been, but a little like pounder on that little wacky worm drop shot bait. So we're gonna switch it up to some of those other baits I was talking about that just really don't get utilized that much on a drop shot. So let me bust one of those out and show you guys what I'm talking about. I think that on this lake they're gonna be really killer too, since they are really feeding on those bait fish. We're gonna start out with one of these little bad boys, 10,000 fish shimmer swimmer. So just kind of mimics one of those little bait fish that these fish are feeding up on. We're gonna pop one of these on, and a lot of times guys don't want to throw a little paddle tail on a drop shot. Just hasn't really been popularized yet. I did recently see a video of 𝗦liche𝗹𝗹𝗪 doing this, but just doesn't seem like a lot of guys have picked up on it quite yet. So you're going to move this a little bit differently, kind of swim it along as you're fishing this thing. So we're going to start throwing this around, see if we can pick up another fish real quick. Okay, so as far as fishing one of these little shimmer swimmers on a drop shot, this is going to be a little bit different than that last bait. So the last bait, like I said, we were fishing a little bit slower than a normal drop shot because it was wacky style. We kind of just wanted it to sit in one little place, but this thing, we're we're gonna actually fish a bit quicker than you would normally fish a drop shot. So we're gonna bomb this out there, make sure it hits the bottom, and what we're gonna do is basically just slow reel this on the bottom. So the weight's gonna maintain bottom contact, but that little minnow is gonna be just kind of a foot and a half above the bottom, just kind of swimming along. So that's what we're going for when we're fishing this, is just mimicking those little bait fish down there, and we should be able to catch one on this pretty quick since, like I said, the fish in this lake really seem to be relating to bait fish right now, and they're about this size. So we're gonna throw this around, try to get another bite, and then we're gonna hop into bait number 3 that I like to throw when fishing gets kind of tough in the summer. Just different things that could help your drop shot kind of stand out from other guys. There he is. There he is. Come on, baby. Not a big one. Oh my goodness. Little squeaker on the little shimmer swimmer. We're gonna move spots. Doesn't seem to be happening over here. Little guy though, better than nothing. Oh, there we go. We're moving out in the waves. Oh yeah, that's a decent one. On the shimmer swimmer. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. That's the biggest one of the day so far. I was getting ready to move spots again. That's a solid one. Heck yes. Finally. You know it's pretty bad out when you're getting hyped up over like a maybe keeper, maybe a 14-inch bass right there. Little pound and a halfer on that little shimmer swimmer though. We're gonna kind of move into that new technique, and I'm gonna show you guys why I think we might get some bigger bites on it here. But get that fish back in the water. Little pounder, biggest one of the day. So we're kind of swimming that little shimmer swimmer around, and like I said, they're feeding on bait fishing here, which is definitely key for, you know, throwing a drop shot bait that's got a little bit of action like that. But it just seems like we're catching a lot of small fish. That was the first like halfway decent one. I haven't even been putting all the little ones in the video. Jeez, plane, calm down up there. Got a plane flying over the top of us, but we're gonna kind of do the same thing. This is the third bait I was gonna show you guys, is that little BioSpawn Exo Swim, but we're just gonna kind of upsize a little bit. So getting a lot of smaller fish. They're definitely keying in on those bait fish, but we just want to throw something a little bit larger. So gonna put this little Exo Swim on, kind of do the same thing, just fish it on the bottom, maybe swim it along a little bit with that drop shot, and hopefully get some better bites. There we go. Come on, baby. On that BioSpawn Exo Swim. Come on, right at the boat. She crushed it. There we go. Finally, we've been throwing this thing for quite a while. I actually caught a couple small ones and missed one or two here or there, but they really just, I don't know what the heck's going on. Even on these little weird drop shot techniques, I'm still not getting very many bites, but that's bait number 3, little BioSpawn Exo Swim. She got it all sorts of tore up right there, but I was swimming that thing right over the top of this flat, right where she should be. Just seems like a lot of small fish in it. I just don't know where the big ones are at. Well, we are on to the 4th bait of the day, and that is the little gambler flapping shad right here. So kind of similar to the last 2 baits. They're mimicking little bait fish, but not quite a little paddle tail on there. Just kind of a paddle tail shape, but it's not going to kick around quite as much. So kind of a mix between a worm and the little swim baits that we've been throwing. So we're going to put this on there, try to catch another fish, hopefully catch one over 2 freaking pounds. Cannot believe that we're just catching all these dinks. But this thing right here has got some awesome scent to it too, so I think that we're gonna get bit pretty quickly here. There's also stuff busting all around the boat right now. We gotta get back out there. Look at them, pop, 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 everywhere. There he is. Come on, baby. Oh, she just picked it up on the drop. That's a good one too. Yes, we're gonna end on the biggest one by far on that gambler flapping shad. Heck yes. Flipped it up next to that little floating trampoline thing. Probably was just fluttering down. This thing's got some crazy tail kicking action too, so like every time you're kind of pulsating it out of that grass, that's when I was getting bit a lot. But like I said, caught a ton of dinks today. Probably just caught like 8 fish on this little flapping shad, but wanted to try to get you guys at least one decent one on camera. And yeah, can't complain too much because that is by far the biggest bass that we caught today, which is a bit sad. Little like 14-incher, but kind of girthy, not super skinny like a couple of those other ones that we were catching. So Gonna get her back in the water, gonna wrap up the video, but just want to show you guys some of the different drop shot baits that you could try out. It doesn't always have to be that standard finesse worm. That is going to be a wrap on today's video. Thank you guys so much for sticking around, and thank you to MTB for letting me take over the channel once again. Hopefully you guys learned something today by throwing some different drop shot baits, which you do not always have to throw a finesse worm, and if you do, maybe try throwing a wacky style every once in a while. You just got to switch things up. So there was actually a tournament out on this lake. The first lake that I tried to go out on, there was a tournament out there too. So a lot of pressure. Every once in a while, switching it up a little bit might get you a few more bites. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next video.